Look, the old way of managing teams is dead. Holding everyone in one office, watching them clock in, thinking you control the output, that's a nightmare that's killing startups and wrecking venture outcomes. You know the pain, missed deadlines, half-baked ideas, burnout in isolated pockets, and investors screaming at you because the runway is short and the product isn't moving fast enough. That feeling when your team is distributed across time zones but still somehow the work doesn't flow? That constant frustration? It's because remote workforces aren't just a trend, they're a revolution, and if you don't get it, you're wasting time and money. Here's the brutal truth. Remote teams don't work without intentional design. You can't just let people work from anywhere and expect magic. That's a recipe for chaos and inefficiency. Investors are sharp, they smell lack of control and coordination from miles away. Founders who treat remote work like an afterthought end up with disconnected teams, unclear priorities, and lost focus. You feel it every day, the gnawing fear that your venture might never really take off because your team isn't synced. That's rage, frustration, and pain you can't ignore. But here is exactly how to change that. Fix the connection gaps, and not with empty video calls or generic tools. You must build micro-synergies that feel personal and urgent. Start with breaking your team into small laser-focused pods where roles and outcomes are crystal clear. Each pod moves fast, with zero distractions, and accountability that actually hits nerve endings. No more vague to-dos, real responsibility that can't be dodged. Equip these pods with tools that cut through noise. Think asynchronous workflows that don't waste a second of anyone's day, but keep everyone locked in the loop. This isn't about monitoring or spying, it's about crafting trust through smart transparency. Then burn out the old hierarchy. Remote work thrives when power shifts to those who truly deliver, not the loudest voice or the highest title. You need dynamic meritocracy embedded in your team DNA. Reward ideas and execution, not politics. Make capital flows and decision rights a live scoreboard, visible, fair, instant. When a founder or leader freezes because of old school control, the company freezes. Don't let that happen. Push ownership to the edges of your network, so every node acts like a startup inside your startup. This tension, this pressure, is what gets you results. Here's the hard edge. If you don't do this, you'll see your venture stumble. Remote is not a perk. It's the new battleground for trust, speed, and clarity. Investors will bet on teams that prove this model works, not those clinging to past ways. Your biggest asset is how your remote crew collaborates under fire, how they find those hidden signals in a flood of messages, and how they overcome the isolation that silently kills startups. So stop pretending remote work means looser standards or easier management. It demands obsession. Obsession with culture that survives distance, obsession with processes that flex but don't break, obsession with ruthless prioritization. Build rituals that plug humans into a synchronous experience without drowning them in meetings. Build moments that feel like war rooms but are virtual, bite-sized, intense, and deadly effective. And finally, treat every single remote teammate like a founder in their own right. Hold them accountable, give them ownership, and demand their best. If your venture isn't wired for this, it's dying slowly. But if you rewire it right, you unleash a force no investor can ignore. Teams that adapt, move fast, and own their piece of the mission no matter where in the world they sit. That's how remote work reshapes venture outcomes, by turning broken, scattered groups into linked-up, high-octane engines of growth. Get this right, and every step forward is a step to dominating your market. Get this wrong, and you're running on fumes with no finish line. Fix your remote workforce like your startup's life depends on it, because it does. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and check the featured link to discover more.